Shockley Show. Turn your bitter into better. It's the Sonja Shockley Show. Turn your bitter into better. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sonja Shockley Show. We are live. How exciting is this? It's been a minute. I know, but I'm so happy to be with you today. Wanted to kind of just catch you up on some things. Let you know, of course, that I have been thinking of you and wishing all of you well. There's a couple of things on my agenda today. First of all, I want to just say thank you. Thank you to so many of you who have allowed me to serve you. Give me 1 second. I just want to make sure that I'm live here too. I think so. Okay. Who have allowed me to serve you and to be a blessing to you. It has just been my privilege and my honor to journey with you as you have shared with me your stories. They have been some amazing stories. We just finished a class and it was awesome. It was just awesome. What a blessing. Please know that as I serve you, I also am receiving healing. Your healing is my healing, and I'm able to continue to grow. Hello, Edith. Hey, I'm getting ready to call you, girl, so be ready. But so that was my first thing I wanted to say. I wanted to just say thank you, a big thank you to all of you who have allowed me to serve you in the capacity of a coach or a mentor or a chaplain. However, thank you so much. The next thing I wanted to say is that my next class will start in the first week in May. So I have 2 classes starting in May, a Tuesday night class starting at 7 Central, that's May 4th, or a Thursday night class, 7 Central, 5 Arizona time. I'm between the two. You guys already know Arizona and Chicago. They're both my homes. But 7 p.m. Central, either Tuesday night or Thursday night. And that's starting the first week in May, May 4th, and May 6th. Now, I must say the Tuesday night class is almost full. In fact, I got a call early from a lady this morning. So that class may be already full, but please give me a call and we will see how I can help you. I'm also offering an extreme discount to all of you who've ever been in one of my classes before. So I did call some of you and I was like, hey, have you thought about taking the class again? And they were like, perfect timing, Sonja. I'm so happy you called. I so needed this. Thank you so much. So if you've been thinking about taking the class again, or if I've ever coached you or been in some sort of capacity where I've mentored you or whatever, just feel free to call me and let's take the class again. I think you will so enjoy it. I had quite a few divorce people in this last class, and so it was just a really interesting dynamic to help with the healing of getting over a bad romantic breakup. And we all have been there with a bad romantic breakup. And so it's so good to be able to just release past regrets and all of these emotions and to be able to process those things so that you can now move forward to the next relationship. So again, I can help with all types of grief, but specifically I work with those who have lost a loved one due to death or divorce or, some sort of bad, romantic breakup that they're wanting to get over. So that's May 4th and May 6th, 7 p.m. Central or 5 p.m. if you're in Arizona, which is mountain, I think mountain time. So I wanted to answer a couple of questions because I do get questions all the time. People are like texting me or they're DM me. They will DM me and they're like, "Hey, Sonia, just a quick question. What are your thoughts?" Or people will call me because they're on hospice or a family member just went on hospice, or they're trying to deal with children who are grieving. I get calls and text all the time. So I decided to say, let me do some Q&A with some of these questions and I'll come on once a week and we'll do the Q&A in addition to my show that will start back up where we'll also have our special guests as they talk about their stories and what they're going through. So let's just take a look at some of the questions that I have. I'll only do 3 today. But the first question says, "Dear Coach Sonia," so nice of them to call me Coach, huh? But this one, she says, "My father committed suicide about 2 years ago, and it seems like I should be doing better, but I still struggle with guilt and shame surrounding his death. Do you have any suggestions?" Thank you, thank you, thank you so much to the person that shared this with me. I want to first of all say I'm deeply sorry for your loss. Um, what you're experiencing is what we call complicated grief. This is when grief just has a whole nother level. So we already know that grief can be complicated, it can be complex, but there's what I call normal grieving of a loss, and then there's complicated grief. And I've been in healthcare for 30 years, so I'm going to just compare this to like a sore or a wound, if you can think of it that way. So with a sore or a wound, we have what we call just regular, just a regular wound. It needs to heal. You go through the process, it gets better, you get stitches, and it's all done. You're good as new. Same with what I call regular or normal grief. You go through the process, the loss, the grieving, and then, you know, as time goes by, you get better. But with a complicated grief or with complicated grief, it's a little bit different. It's like the wound got infected or the wound, the stitches, they burst open. Some sort of extra drama happened. And so now it makes it even more difficult to get over this loss. So, first of all, I want to say thank you for sharing. I'm sending prayers. My thoughts and my prayers are with you. When I saw this, of course, I already just started sending healing and love to you, right then. But you can get better. There is recovery after this. Be patient with yourself and you can get over this. Now, the thing about shame and guilt, there's a lot of shame when someone dies of something that's kind of tabooed. So you hear this if there's a death through suicide or a drug overdose or someone died of AIDS, some horrible medical condition. So there's a little bit more shame around this. Take a deep breath, and I want you to know that this is not your fault. This is not your fault. And I know it seems like we want to blame ourselves. Again, that's normal and natural after we lose someone. But I do want you to know that this is not your fault. And I'd like to talk to you a little bit more offline. You may need to, I will highly suggest that you get a coach or some sort of grief counselor that can help you to unpack this and to help you to resolve this, but you can get better. You can feel better after this and be able to deal with that, the pain and the shame and the guilt of this. I always like to say that the best antidote to guilt and shame is love, it's compassion. So you need to really extend that love and compassion to yourself. All right. I have another question here. And it says, I recently lost my fiance, and I find that I am easily distracted. It is especially hard for me to focus at work, even with the smallest of tasks. um, is this normal? So, this is totally normal. Totally. I cannot tell you how many times after my mother died that I'm driving on the highway and just miss my exit. I mean, like you're totally distracted. This is all normal and natural. In fact, you'll find that many people have some sort of injury that may come after a death, after losing someone, whether they fall and they break an ankle or they have to go to the hospital for something. But all of this is normal and natural. I want to encourage you again, you have to be patient with yourself. With the grieving is unique. It's totally, it's your journey. Nobody else can tell you how you should grieve, but you have to be patient with yourself as you process these different emotions. But yes, distraction, all of that is normal and natural part of grieving. Okay, I'm going to take this last question here. Um, okay, so this one, she says, my ex husband was physically and mentally abusive. He also cheated on me several times in our relationship. I've been divorced from him for 5 years. However, I still struggle with unforgiveness. It is difficult for me to trust anyone. I would like to find love again, but I am afraid. Do you have any suggestions? All righty. Well, thank you. I love these questions. And I'll be honest with you guys. When it comes to grief and loss, I've got the t shirt, I've got the tank top. Okay. I've been through my own share of pain. Um, when it comes to grief and loss, as you know, I've lost both of my parents, and I've also had to experience divorce and getting over a bad romantic breakup. So I know that that can be difficult for anyone. The first thing I want to suggest is forgiveness. It is imperative that you forgive yourself and you're able to forgive the other person. Now, so many times people think of forgiveness and they're like, oh no, they don't deserve my forgiveness, blah, blah, blah. I want you to know that it's not about the other person. Truly, forgiveness is a gift for you. I mean, it is. Please know that God Himself has to practice forgiveness. So anything that He's doing for Himself, then He's teaching us how to do it for ourselves. So it's imperative that we embrace forgiveness as a gift for ourselves, because that's what it is. It's a release for your heart. Everything needs a release. I don't care what it is. If you're driving a fancy car, it's got some sort of exhaust, a way to release. If we eat food, there's a way that we have to eliminate, we have to release. Everything has a release. And so forgiveness is a release for your heart. You have to learn how to release these things, release these toxic emotions, this negative energy out of your system and to, just forgive and to move on. Now, forgiveness does not mean reconciliation. And I think a lot of times when people hear the word forgiveness, they're thinking that I'm saying they got to be reconciled, they got to hang out, and now we go on vacations together. No, again, it's all for you. It's about you being able to release and to move on again. Um, and people say, I can forgive, but I can't forget. Well, okay, I didn't say you had to forget because it seems like we should learn from our past. We should learn from our past mistakes, but you do need to forgive. I think it's crazy or ridiculous to think that someone would just forget everything that they've been through. That's not what I'm suggesting. But I am suggesting to release the pain and the regrets that come with the past relationship. Um, the thing about when we hold on to the past, if I'm holding on to the past, if I'm holding on to what somebody did to me, then I can never open up my hand to receive something brand new. And that's what you want to do. You want to be able to now stop clutching on to what he did and being angry about that. And you want to be able to release that so that you can press forward to something new. I always let people know that there's two ways that we can tell our stories. This is something that I share with my students. We think of Joseph. For those of you who are believers, you know the story of Joseph. And Joseph can easily tell his story as a victim. I mean, easily he could tell you, my family, they just turned their back on me. My brothers threw me in the pit. This sorry woman lied on me, said I raped her. I didn't. They threw me in jail, blah, blah, blah. He could easily tell his story as a victim. But we see Joseph decides to tell his story as a victor, as a conqueror, as somebody who has moved past all of those painful regrets, all of that unforgiveness. He tells his story like a person who stands in their power and knows that I can do all things through Christ. And so we hear him say his story, and he says, what you did for me. I mean, what you did to me, you might have done it for evil, but God turned that whole thing around and he changed it into good. And so that's what I want to encourage you to do is to begin to tell your story now, and not as a victim, but as a victor. Don't talk so much about the wounds unless you're going to talk about the wisdom, because we get wisdom from our wounds. Don't talk about the pain unless you're ready to talk about the fresh perspective. You've got a whole new perspective because of your pain. I always say, be willing to, I'll talk about the bitter, but I definitely want you to know that there's better that is for you. So that's all a part of recovery. And I'd love to journey with you and to hear more of your story. So forgiveness is a release, and it's a gift that we can give to ourselves. All right. So loving again. Let's just talk a minute for that. Just talk a minute about that. I'm sure if you look back on that past relationship, you saw some red flags. I don't know what it is about us, but we see red flags, but we'll try to justify. So that's something else that we talk about in class is recognizing those red flags and being able to stand in our power, be comfortable with our no, and to uh, create healthy boundaries. Any healthy relationship also has healthy boundaries. And if you look back, you'll see how you've allowed certain people to be in your space. You've allowed people to have conversations with you, men who've had conversations with you who they should have never even had a conversation with you when you think about it, because you saw the red flags. So that's all I've got for now. This has been so fun. It's been a great warm up getting back on here. I will be back again with you next weekend. If you have any questions, please feel free to DM me. I hope I wasn't talking too fast. Sometimes I get so excited and I am talking fast, but I am just so happy and excited to be on here with you. I didn't want to stay more than a half an hour, but here is my email. If you're thinking about taking a class, if you've been praying about it, when you've been saying, I've been looking for somebody who will journey with me, I am here for you. I'm here to support you. I'm not afraid of the basement. I'm not afraid of the shadow of the valley of death. I love the way David talks. He says, yea, though I walk through the shadow, it's just the shadow of death. Okay. And yes, is it scary? Is it painful? Yes, it is. But I am willing to walk with you through that shadow of death. I'm willing to support you as you move on to recovery, and recovery is possible. If you're not quite ready for the class yet, feel free to send me your questions. Please keep calling me, asking my advice. I love talking to you. I love supporting you. And I look forward to talking to you again real soon. You can reach me at Sonja, the grief coach at gmail.com. Again, that's Sonja, the grief coach at gmail.com. Hey, Dee. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you. Just wanted to look over my notes to see if I forgot anything. So, just a reminder about the class. I've got a great special going on. This is my Mother's Day special, my Woman's Day special if you're not a mother. But I am here for any type of heartbreak and heartache. I am here to be a support to you. And so I have a class on Tuesday evening. This is through Zoom, May 4th. And I also have a class on Thursday, May 6th through Zoom. Who would be great? Who's a great candidate for my class? Well, anybody who's ever been through any type of loss. There's over 40 different types of losses a person can go through. I specialize specifically with those who have lost someone through death or through divorce, some sort of romantic breakup. I am here to support you. Who else is a great candidate? Somebody who's ready. You've got to be ready. You've got to be committed. So many times I let people in, I give them a break. I'm like, okay, yeah, but then they're not committed. You need to be committed. Yes, it's an 8-week commitment. Every week we will meet, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to get personal, but everything that we talk about in our classes it's completely confidential. And I always ask everyone, it's imperative that we keep what is shared in this class confidential, and what is shared is received without judgment. I am not here to judge your story or your journey. Your pain is your pain. And the only thing that I want to do is walk with you as your sister. So if you're ready to tackle all of those incomplete conversations in your head, all of those things, those shoulda, woulda, couldas, those I wish I would have did this, I wish I would have said that. If you're ready to tackle all that, this will be a great meeting, a great opportunity for you. So I want to invite you again to be a part of the class. Now, I do want to do something, especially for the men. I'm working on something. I'm working on something for the men because I think it is so beautiful when a man is willing to be vulnerable and to talk about his feelings and to share his story of triumph, of what he has been through, whether it's been losing a loved one or, hello, Lori. Thank you so much, sweetie. Whether it's losing a loved one or getting over a bad breakup. I mean, men, they have feelings too. So I am working on something special just for the guys. I'm hoping to get that started soon because I really think that it is a beautiful thing when we can get our men on board with talking about their emotions and talking about their pain. I think we can just learn from each other. So, anyway, my time is up. I've been on here too long. I said I was going to be on here past 30 minutes, but I'm so excited about serving you, about helping you turn your wounds into wisdom, your pain into perspective, and your bitter into better. God bless you, and I look forward to talking with you soon. Take care.